back to the second half of the Future Show. Ladies and gentlemen, we're less than 60 minutes away from the cash open for stocks on Wall Street. We've got Scott Bauer, the CEO of Prosper Trading Academy, joining us to help us take a look at some of the economic data. Let's bring him in here because, Scott, welcome. After yesterday's big beat in terms of the National Association of Home Builders today, we get the housing starts, we get the building permits, two closely watched numbers. What are you seeing?
I mean, strong, and stronger, right?
Yeah.
I mean, that sector of the economy has just been rip-roaring, Ben, and I'm trying to find out the numbers that just came out right now, but, you know, I certainly would expect more of the same. That's been a sector here which, you know, you can look at the Home Depots of the world also and really just correlate the two of those together.
Yeah.
And it's just probably just up and away. I don't see that changing anytime soon. Rates not going anywhere except, you know, in a holding pattern here. So that certainly is going to help the situation as well.
Scott, it is up and away. Let's take a look at these numbers here. I got building permits, which came in 18% to the upside versus last month's 3.5% increase to 1.495 million, topping the 1.32
Wow.
that we're looking for. Hold on to your hat here, though, because the housing starts also coming in just shy of 1.5 at 1.496 million, topping the 1.24. And up 22.6%. I mean, we heard from Home Depot this morning. I mean, this is exactly what you would expect to see. You know, Scott, what I've been thinking about it kind of like from a personal level is as a traveler, I always sort of say, hey, if I get a hotel room, you know, on a beach vacation or a ski vacation or something, I don't plan to spend a lot of time at the hotel, so I could maybe kind of splurge on something else and not necessarily get the nicest Airbnb or the nicest hotel. But things have changed right now. We're all spending a lot of time in our homes, so we're going to be spending money on our homes and
Yep.
not necessarily out in some of the other areas. And we're starting to see that this is definitely one of the areas, one of the beneficiaries, as you were saying, of the pandemic.
No doubt about it. And there is a huge give and take in different sectors out there right now. And certainly right now, the take is in the home builders and in the housing market. It's as strong probably, Ben, as you and I have maybe ever seen in you know, the last 20, 30 years,
yeah,
quite frankly.
You know, and the give on this situation and the ones that are suffering right now is obviously the restaurants, some of the service
Yep.
sector that's really struggling a little bit. So we're going to continue to watch that. We'll continue to watch retail sales. Today, Scott, let's talk a little bit about how, well, the dollar now, I'm sure you've got your eye on it as we head into the open this morning, into a multi-year low. We're talking levels we haven't seen since, what is it, spring of 2018, and it's attracting some attention as it builds momentum to the downside. Here we can see some of the numbers. You know, interestingly enough, as you take a look at the dollar in reaction to this number, it actually, well, dollar continues to hold on the lows. It certainly hasn't strengthened it any, and well, the dollar's coming off in a big way here, Scott, all the way down to 92.27 here today. We actually just posted a new low as you came on the show.
Yeah, and you know, we had talked for a long time about whether it was going to hold those March lows, which was about 93.60 or so, and once it really broke through there, you know, it's been I'm not going to say a downward spiral, but a gradual decline. And, you know, we tried to rally a little bit last week, and that rally just couldn't hold. So right now it's, you know, a lot of headwinds with the dollar just globally right now. And we certainly see the beneficiary of that being the precious metals and especially gold.
Scott, you mentioned rates holding lower levels, and again, how that's helping out the housing market a little bit. We've got the Fed meeting tomorrow. Any expectations, any thoughts for them to stir things up at all? Is there anything that'll be kind of breaking news in this statement, do you think, or in the minutes, I guess I should say?
I can't imagine there being anything other than, you know, what we've heard from them the last few months. We will continue to monitor, you know, the pandemic. We will continue to monitor consumer spending. We obviously don't want to see hints of, you know, inflation, if you will. And I don't see anything different whatsoever at all. I think, you know, it's going to be a nothing burger tomorrow. Not that we can't, you know, we can't just discount the Fed at all. But tomorrow there's really not going to be anything. And then we move on and we get some economic reports Thursday and Friday. Okay,
so they're continuing to monitor those things. You expect to hear them say, we mentioned, again, some of the, retailers and the earnings that we're going to continue to monitor. We've got MBA this week, still to come tomorrow. We've got the EIA tomorrow. You've got a couple numbers on Thursday that are going to be closely watched Friday. I guess I'm wondering, what are you going to be continuing to monitor after the FOMC meeting on Wednesday into the second half of the week?
So we also get a ton of euro data tomorrow in terms
Interesting.
of how the consumer is, retail sales out there.
Okay.
Ton of data. So let's see across the euro space if they're starting to pick up a little, because quite frankly the data that we have here over the last few weeks and maybe even the last month or so has been far better than we've seen anywhere else in the world. So I'm kind of watching that pretty closely, Ben, to see if they're going to start catching up at all. And then obviously Thursday, the jobs number is it's so critical every week now, the weekly jobless claims, and can that number stay under 1 million again? I mean, I guess that's the new benchmark, unfortunately. And I don't mean to chuckle at that. I mean, it's kind of a sad state of affairs, but can that number stay under 1 million?
Yeah, no, severity is certainly not a laughing matter. And let's talk a little bit about, you mentioned again, I like that you brought to our attention the euro situation in terms of the numbers there. I just looked. We have Canadian CPI as well, some inflation data coming our way. So I appreciate you bringing that to our attention. I definitely flew below the radar on my screen. But Scott, as we head into the middle of the month right now, or into the second half of the month, kind of the dog days of summer, we're certainly seeing that in terms of crude prices, mostly sideways, not really seeing the kind of energy or price activity that we've been seeing in gold, the commodities. I notice natural gas is on the move, but I don't want to dive too much into that right now. We're going to take a look at the chart in a minute. But your thoughts on the energy markets right now, is they've just been really stagnant.
Yeah, they've been met with sellers anytime that there's been a rally. And just if you think of how life has been over the last 3, 4, 6 months or so, and connect that to our everyday normal lifestyle. Well, typically going into the summer, you see big driving season ahead, oil prices go up, gas prices go up. We would typically see that again coming down to an end of the summer and going into the Labor Day holiday weekend again. I just don't see that. And we're going to get some energy data and some oil data coming up over the next day or two. But man, there's just headwind after headwind, and every little rally we get in the oil space gets met with sellers.
All right, there sure has been. Scott, really appreciate you joining. That's a great breakdown in terms of the numbers and some of the optimism we've seen related to the housing market, talking about the U.S. dollar, Treasury's rates, and look at the week ahead. Really appreciate you helping us out here on a Tuesday morning. Scott Bauer, ladies and gentlemen, the CEO of Prosper Trading Academy. Always a pleasure. And